What's the Chow Chinchows JoesphGames here, your coach at Chester Chinchous, and welcome to week 1 of the lower tier draft league. Today we are taking on the Nootherlandians. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I've spelled your name wrong, but it's really hard to... All these Dutch team names are really hard to pronounce, okay? These Dutch team names are really hard to pronounce. I had a lot of trouble trying to lock down Otto's team before I did it. I rushed like a week of his battles trying to pronounce his own team name before I did it. This one I've only watched I've only watched like one video, so it didn't work out as I haven't been able to work it out. But we'll honestly see. I mean, this is an interesting team that I've put up here, and we can see what his team is. His team is Probopass, Gothitelle, Alolan Ninetales, Licky Licky, Floatzel, and Electabuzz, whilst I bought Kadabra, Torkoal, Archeops, Volbeat, Golurk, and Malamar. Not Malamar, I mean, where's he? Marini, that's it, Marini, there you go. Okay, I fudged that one up. And I kind of fudged this battle up too. I kind of really fudged this battle up. And I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what I was thinking in the moment. And basically, well, I just don't know. Honestly, I don't know. If I'd gone with the way that Darude's mock had gone, I would have won this battle. It's as simple as that. There was no reasoning for why I differed from Darude's plan. And I just don't know why I did it. I must have like overstressed things in the heat of the moment or something like that. Because, well, as you're about to see, I lost heavily. And I could have won this one easily. If I'd gone with Darude's plan, I would have won. So, let's see what I did. And how, if I have time, I might show you what Darude did. And then show you what I should have done. Because, you know, it's an old battle, so I have the time. Also, I need to remember... Right, excuse me a minute. I just remembered I'm capturing my mouse. I'm not meant to do that. I'm still new to this whole browser capture thing that I'm doing now with Showdown, because apparently I can't record Windows. You know, Chrome won't let me help me record Windows with OBS, so I'm using a browser capture instead now. So yeah, I'm still getting used to this. Anyway, let's play. So he starts off with Probopass, as I start off with PD my Marini. Now, what I was trying to do here was to get 2 rows of spikes up. That's what I wanted to do. He was going to get some rocks up. I wanted to get 2 rows of spikes up. He goes into his Licky Licky on this play. And now I've got my 2 rows of spikes up. I should have gone into Torkoal. I ended up going into Iron Giant, and he predicted me going into Iron Giant by going for the knockoff. Mistake number 1 of about 10 million in this match. Then from there I go into Archeops, mistake number 2 from this match. Again, getting hit by the knockoff and getting myself put into defeatist. Mistake number 2. I go for the acrobatics, it does nothing. Now I've lost my item, it does nothing. He goes for the knockoff again, you know, which doesn't do a lot of damage to me, but it does put me into the red. I go back into PD now because I kind of need someone to tank for me, but he goes for the knockoff again and actually knocks off my Eevee-Light, meaning in other words, PD can't really tank for me. He goes for the Wish, now he's lost about half of his HP. I go for the knockoff again. I go for the knockoff this time. He's not knocking off his lefties, but of course he's just wished, so yeah. He goes for the Body Slam. I go for Recover to get my HP back. He gets his Wish to come true, and of course, now he's going to be setting up a Wish again, because this thing is just basically stall. I know Licky Licky is that, basically stall play. I go for the Skull to try and do some kind of damage to this thing, but no. This time he goes to the Body Slam, and he gets paralyzed, and I get Para Hacks. X. So I couldn't go for the recover like I wanted to. And again, I go for the recover, but I get para-haxed 2 turns in a row this time. 2 turns. He goes into Gothitelle on this play. I finally get my recover off. And this is where everything starts going again really badly. I go into Iron Giant here. Good play, but I allow him to set up the Calm Mind, which is kind of annoying. So, of course, he psychics me with the Calm Mind boosted. Iron Giant dies because of all the original damage he took. Even though he had an Assault Vest, he was going to get destroyed by that. I go into Romeo here, my Volbeat, set up the sub to try and do this lunge play, and he goes for the rest, getting rid of the toxic damage, which is annoying. I go for the Roost to get myself back up to HP standards, and he's still asleep, and goes for the Sleep Talk, which gets rid of my Substitute, because apparently he has really good special attack, which ruins my Substitute. He goes for the Calm Mind again, whilst being asleep because of Sleep Talk. I do the lunge, but it does barely anything. It absolutely barely does anything, and with the amount of Calm Minds this guy has up, there's no real point in me substituting to try and go around him at this point. Literally, he swept me at this point. And to add to all of that, a crit Psychic takes down Romeo. I mean, it probably would have taken down Romeo without the crit Psychic, but still. I go for the Taunt this time to try and stop him from setting up on me, but by this time it's already too late, and he could just sweep me with he just keep on hurting me with Psychic. I go for the Psychic on him, and it does barely anything. Of course, his special defense dropped on it, which is kind of good, but like my Psychic doesn't do anything to me. I can't do anything to this thing. I go into Torkoal here to see if he can take damage, but nope, straight up one-shots on the Torkoal. I am literally done at this point. I go into Rock, dies instantly to Rocks. And PD will just get instantly blown apart by this Psychic. And of course that only leaves Kadabra, which will basically just die to one Psychic anyway at this point, because he's lost enough HP to just die. So yeah, I got swept. I got destroyed absolutely 6-0 because the fact is I made a huge amount of mistakes. Now, there's many things I could have done. I could have gone to the Torkoal. And when he went into Licky Licky, and that could have done some serious work. So yeah, I probably should have done that. Now, if you give me a few seconds, I'm going to pause this recording, or I'm going to stop this recording, and then show you what Darude did in his battle, which would have made so much more sense for me to do. Because I think that's going to be a new feature with these battles, to try and see where I'm going wrong. I might show you the replays of Darude's mocks to try and see where the hell I'm going wrong with this, because I'm still learning here, guys. I've been doing Draft League for almost 3 years, and I'm still learning, but I'm still enjoying Draft League, so I'm going to keep on doing as much as I can to learn and enjoy this Draft League thing. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes. Okie dokie, we are back, and this is Darude's playthrough with the exact same team. This is the mock battle with Darude's playthrough. Darude's opponent actually bought Mighty Enna instead of Electabuzz here, which is kind of interesting because Mighty Enna is also part of the Nootherlandians team, so it's also quite interesting to see that here as for this one. So it's quite a difference from seeing Electabuzz and seeing Mighty Enna, but of course it's still kind of the same play. I mean, the only way to get rid of my hazards is if he actually had Pidgeot, which is also part of his team, which he didn't bring. So let's go slow and hit the play button. Okay, so Darude goes into Marini as the opponent goes into Probopass, and we set up the Toxic Spikes. He goes for the Volt Switch to switch into Floatzel, which is rather interesting as well. Floatzel gets hit by the poison and it does damage. He sets up the sub, does Floatzel, and Darude goes for the knockoff, which doesn't do a lot of damage. Of course, the Floatzel is getting damaged by the poison and goes for the baton pass, setting up a sub into the Alolan Ninetales. So the Alolan Ninetales is behind the sub. Darude goes for the knockoff again, and of course doesn't really do much damage to the Alolan Ninetales. Goes into the Torkoal on this play, and then the Alolan Ninetales sets up the Nasty Plot. All the while, whilst the Alolan Ninetales is getting poisoned. The Alolan Ninetales goes for the Sub-Zero Slammer here, and Torkoal barely survives, setting up the Stealth Rocks. Of course, from here he goes into Mareanie. He goes and the Torkoal and the Ninetales goes for a Freeze Dry. Nasty Plot Freeze Dry destroys Mareanie. Goes into Kadabra off this play, goes for Freeze Dry, again does the Ninetales, and it almost kills, but not there yet. Psychic destroys the sub, which is good, and of course puts Mareanie back, puts Ninetales back up. Ninetales goes for the Freeze Dry and destroys a Torkoal. Of course, Ninetales is now almost in the red as Darude goes into the Archeops, and now the opponent switches into Gothitelle. Darude goes for the Earthquake, which does quite a bit of damage to the Gothitelle. Not a lot, but quite a bit. Darude sets up behind a sub, and the Psychic gets rid of the sub instantly. So the sub is not very useful. Darude goes for the Sky Attack and destroys of the Gothitelle, which is something I could have done, which I didn't. Of course, he goes for the Earthquake on the Probopass, but the Probopass is holding a berry, so it doesn't do a lot of damage. The Flash Cannon takes Archeops into the Fetus range, and of course almost kills him. The second Earthquake almost kills the Probopass, and the Probopass is able to set up rocks, and then the Probopass dies to a third Earthquake because of the Fetus. He goes into Licky Licky from this, as we go for the Darude goes for the Acrobatics, and the Licky Licky goes to set up the Wish. He switches into the Floatzel to get the Wish damage back. Of course, Darude goes for the Acrobatics and almost kills the Floatzel. And the Wish comes off, allowing him to survive the poison damage. Liquidation kills off the Archeops. And from here he goes into Volbeat, and this is where Volbeat gets so much interesting. The rocks and poison damage destroy of Alolan Ninetales, and the lunge just finishes him off. He goes into Licky Licky now, and from here Volbeat sets up the sub. Licky Licky goes for the rest. We go for the lunge. Darude goes for the lunge. Just does quite a bit of damage and damages his attack. The body slam does not kill off the sub, and he gets his wish back up. We go for the Darude goes for the roost to get his HP back up to full, whilst the Licky Licky goes for the wish again. Darude goes for the lunge. Again, the lunge lowers attack, but doesn't really do enough damage. The body slam this time takes out the substitute, but Darude can also just reset up the sub again. And does. And again, the Licky Licky is just here to tank, and of course is just going to tank a lot of wish damage. Switches out into the Floatzel here, goes for the Focus Punch, again almost killing the Floatzel, but not enough, and he gets his wish to survive the poison. Liquidation takes out the substitute, and the lunge again takes him down to the very low damages. With the poison damage afterwards, he's in the very low reds. Darude sets back up the substitute, and the liquidation does not kill the substitute this time. to add together with all the poisons. The Floatzel's on 9 health. We set back up the Roost to get back up with full health, and another liquidation kills off the substitute. Darude sets up another substitute, and of course, just sits there behind the substitute. Nothing is stopping this thing. Floatzel eventually dies to poison. Mariana comes in here and gets poisoned with rock damage. Crunch gets rid of the substitute, but Lunge does almost everything to Mariana. So Mariana's gonna take a lot of damage too. So he sets up the sub again. The sub fail. The sub is given rid of by the Crunch, but Mariana dies to the poison. And then all that is left is Licky Licky. Of course, Darude sets up the sub again, whilst Body Slam doesn't do enough damage to beat the sub. And of course, this is where it gets all interesting. Z, all out pummeling from a Z focus punch, absolutely destroying of the Licky Licky, and of course, giving the win to Darude. So there you go. I think the original Z was for the Probo Pass, but it does damage to Licky Licky too, and Licky Licky is a beast, so kind of needed that. So from there you can see what I did wrong. Now there's a few things that Darude probably did wrong too, but from that you can see where I went wrong. And I might continue that throughout the entire series if I have Darude's mocks. So I'm learning, and I need to learn. So there's definite things I could have done better. Week 2 sees us take on the PI2 Cannons, and that's going to be a rather interesting match. You can join us for that next week. And I'm really worried about that one, but it's going to be a really interesting team that I'm going to have to put together for this one too. But this time I don't have Torkoal, I have Zawireless instead, so that could make things more interesting. I may make more changes as the weeks go on. Darude was talking to me about getting rid of Laloon earlier this week, so that might come to play. We're not sure, we're deciding things just at this moment in time, but that might come to play. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, so next time, I'm JoesphGames. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. But until next time, mean de la Pokemon get a laser. Everybody get Pokemon. Alola.